Final question. You told me about a new book that you were reading, Phasing Our Futures. So, if you care to share some details and why is this an interesting book for business readers?
Oh, sure. And by the way, I can show the cover, right? So facing our whoops, is it? Facing Our Futures is by the author called Nicholas Badminton. So this is a rather new book, probably published this year. This is essentially about what futurists, what do they do? And the reason why I brought it up is because obviously your company is called FutureUP, right? And you talk about strategic forecasting, and I think that's totally relevant. But they do that in a qualitative way, not quantitative way. So they are thinking through the future in quantitative, in descriptive or prescriptive ways, not in terms of numbers. So there are a couple of things I learned from it, at least. Well, for one, like I said earlier, it's virtually impossible to predict the future in the long term. So if we pretend that, or if anyone pretends that they know the future, is don't take it, right? Don't believe that. So what is really a good way to think of it is that there are multiple futures, not one future, but multiple futures. And depends on what we do, and depends on some things out of our control, that we may land on different futures. So it has a concept of future cone. It's the cone is like started from a one point and it expand into circles bigger and bigger. It's like a cone. So our future is like a cone. In other words, there are many different things that could happen in the future, and we need to think of it as a set of possibilities, right? And so what separated it from just regular strategic planning? By the way, all companies do strategic planning, right? How is it different? So I think a key difference that this author suggested is that we want to think in a longer term, because most strategic planning think, in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years, right? And longer than that, people don't want to think about it. Well, for good reasons, because it's hard to predict the future. So why do we do that? So we cannot predict the future, but we can think of different scenarios, right? So in other words, there can be different possible future scenarios. And it's really nice to think in a longer term, let's say 10, 20, 30 years, and think of different possible scenarios. Think of which ones are desirable, which ones are undesirable. And then you can decide how you can avoid the undesirable and go towards the desirable. But you need to have that vision first, right? So just like you said, what if there's AGI, right? That's, in my opinion, not going to happen in the next 3 or 5 years. But people still think about it, and it is good. So even though I don't believe it's going to, emerge in a short term, it's good to have that scenario planned, sort of, right? So if, let's say, if in 5 or 10 years there is AGI, what are the consequences, right? You can think of that as a possible future scenario. Think of the consequence of that AGI. How is that going to influence your the technology, the customers? How is that going to influence your market, your company? And it's better you get prepared for it, right? So you can come up with a scenario and you actually define a plan. It doesn't have to be super detailed, but it's nice to actually think through that so that you don't, get surprised and don't know what to do. Right. I think that's a big takeaway from that, meaning thinking longer terms, because most people don't, right? We don't really think of 20 years into the future, but I think there are benefits of doing that, and also think of things beyond the small circle, right? We may just think of our own company, our industry, our own competitors, but it turns out that things could affect you outside of this small circle. Just like OpenAI suddenly, take the whole world, and maybe you are in an industry that has nothing to do with AI, right? Maybe you are in, let's say, you're in restaurant, right? You are in restaurant industry, and you wouldn't even think of, okay, who cares about over AI, right? But not anymore, right? If you are running a huge restaurant company, let's say if you're McDonald's, now you are seriously thinking of AI, right? So we know that some, I know Wendy's or some fast food restaurant, they are using AI tools to help take orders, right?
Actually, they did that, but not
Okay,
so
okay.
successfully. They tried to use search pricing using AI, and it was a disaster. But it had to
Oh,
do
okay.
not with the AI part, it was mostly the communication, at least this is the consensus, and the way that they manage things or execute on their strategy, not the strategy itself. But it became quite a viral story and not something to be proud of,
Right, right. It
unfortunately
evolves,
for
right?
them.
It evolves. I think there will be a lot of failures along the way, but I think overall, it's in the long run, it's going to be part of AI is going to be part of restaurant. I mean, at least big chain franchise restaurant, it's going to be part of it.
So, Kai, again, thank you so much for joining our discussion today and sharing all these wonderful insights. Any last words? And also, how can anyone get in touch with you?
Sure. Thank you for this opportunity, and I think honestly, I think there's something more to discuss. But if I were to add anything, so for one, uh, I think in my opinion, we are too optimistic about this notion of AGI. I don't think it's going to be achieved anytime soon. Honestly, I'm not sure it can be achieved ever. Um, so I think at the end of the day, we still need to have human at the center of our concerns and in our desired future. I don't think I don't think that just because AI is so powerful that everything has to be centered around AI, right? So I think AI humans are still the center of it, and not only people need to design whatever AI works on. Also, we probably will need to evaluate it at the end, right? So AI can evaluate a bit of by itself, but at the end of the day, whatever AI designs is for people, right? And we probably still need to design whatever they do, and also we need to at the end we need to check the deliverable, right? So it's still a huge part of whatever we're doing. So I don't think we should exaggerate what AI can do and change the focus. So the other thing is that I think it's really important to combine the people's wisdom with AI's capability, right? So I think that's probably the key thing in all industries for the next couple of decades. So I think that's kind of summarizing what I say. Now, in terms of how it can be reached, well, for one, I have LinkedIn obviously profile, and I also have a company website where you can leave a message, or you feel free to add me on LinkedIn, by the way. So I like to meet people of similar interest. So I look forward to working with different people, and I think it's really a wonderful time to be working, and there are a lot of different possibilities, and a lot of things will fail, but I'm pretty sure a lot of things will succeed as well. Thank you, and again, thank you for this opportunity to have a discussion, and I really enjoy these wonderful questions and this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Guy, as well for this intriguing and so interesting discussion. And thanks, of course, everyone for watching our discussion with Guy. I hope you liked it. If yes, then please subscribe to our Future AI Insights newsletter, like it, and share it. Again, thanks everyone for watching, and Kai for accepting our invitation. Bye, everyone.
Bye.